So I played 27 minutes of Mario Kart World, and then I unlocked a skin suit for Playin, and I spent 47 minutes. Thank you for the Nintendo Switch 2.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Go screw yourselves.
Quentin here. I'm fine, babe.
This is Ethan. I'm gonna go. Don't worry, Devin's here. This is Ty. Let's rock and roll!
Welcome to the Power Up Brothers podcast, where the points matter and our voices are different. On this week's episode, we're in a new location. That's right. We're in the morgue 2, where everything is falling apart. Nothing looks good. The decorations are not done.
The decorations aren't done, but it does look good.
Right. And Ty fell asleep earlier.
I did. Really
We've changed the format, the location. We even changed the producer.
Yep.
I don't know why we haven't changed the hosts.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. Don't worry.
Quinn's original checklist.
We're interviewing for
at least one
replacement right
Fun
now.
fact, Ty is still asleep.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Fun fact, Ty's been asleep for every episode of this.
Every episode.
He's a very functional sleeper.
Sleeper. Guys, welcome to the new set.
Your job as a truck driver troubles me.
Yeah.
Sleeping all the time.
No, it's a bus driver.
Bus driver.
Bus driver. Right.
I keep losing the whole bus.
You lose it. It's gone.
I wake up and they're gone, and I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
Right. Uh-huh.
Or the kids.
No.
Right. You're a school bus driver.
Wait, we just said bus driver. We didn't say
no, sometimes I go fall asleep driving the school bus, and I wake up driving the city bus, the city bus.
Yeah.
And it's still full of kids, but they're different kids.
That is scary. I'll tell you what's really scary is that this bit has gone on this long.
That's pretty scary.
It's terrifying. I don't even drive a bus.
So not quite decorated up like we wanted it to be, but we wanted to get you guys a podcast. We didn't want you to be without
That's
a podcast.
right. We know that some of you can't survive without it.
I would just like to say, please do not speak for me when you say we. I did not want you to have a podcast.
Yeah, he wants you to die.
I didn't want you to have a podcast. I wanted you to be free.
He doesn't want you to get your medically mandated podcast.
No.
Okay.
No.
So guys, the Switch 2, we've been playing it a bunch.
Yeah.
A bunch. And this guy hasn't been playing it a bunch.
I've played. Hey, I played it.
I also have not been playing it.
Yeah, Harrison's not been playing. He's been playing his Switch again.
Yeah.
Because he didn't pre-order one.
No, Harrison has been playing his portable PC.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because you got a what is it called?
ROG Ally.
A ROG Ally.
Wait, so did you guys hear about the Xbox?
You mean my phone?
The
ROG?
The Xbox ROG Ally.
Yeah.
No. What is that?
It's an Xbox, just like everything else.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that have been a crazy thing to put
So
in the news?
it's just an ROG Ally.
I feel like Phil Spencer didn't put it in the news.
Yeah, it's not
He
really
left it on a
I
sticky
guess
note
not.
on the fridge.
Yeah, it's not really worth
It's
mentioning.
literally just a Windows tablet with the new Xbox overlay for Windows.
Yeah.
It's like
Right.
the first
It's like a
one to
sticker.
roll
You
it
just
out.
peel the sticker off of the front of it.
Right.
It's like Xbox,
Xbox,
green sticker.
Windows.
I have to say, this whole everything
Yeah.
is an Xbox thing is going to be great for Linus Tech Tips. That way he can review everything twice. One says
the device, and then one says an Xbox.
Exactly.
Xbox, that's it.
Oh, I'm sure he'll get lots of revenue from that.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, well, I'm glad that we had that information instead of in the news.
Yeah, well, that doesn't need to be.
We had such boring news, and we didn't even talk about other boring news.
But you know what we should talk about?
The news.
I'm gonna make us do news just because you had to say that.
Okay. Yeah.
No, I'm gonna ask you, Ethan, because you're the only not dumb person on this podcast. What you been playing? So, guys, what have you been playing? You guys know what I've been playing.
I know what you are going to be playing for a while.
You guys know what I've been playing.
Yeah.
They probably do. They probably maybe seen some of it.
Seen some of it. Watch the video right there or there. Somewhere.
He's not going to remember.
It's on my will.
Have been playing two games.
Oh.
One is an old game that I don't know if it qualifies as game. I actually wanted to ask Quin about it. And the other is new game, which is quite game.
Okay.
I don't believe you.
The
I
new
don't
game
believe
that is
you.
quite game I've been playing is Elden Ring Night Reign.
Not game.
Quite good.
And it's good.
You like it?
It's real good.
I saw that at PAX.
Let me.
You did.
They did
You
not.
got me the lanyard for it, and I was
Yeah.
sure that was a sign that it was going to be terrible
Right.
because every game I've ever got a lanyard for
Turned out
it turned out to be
bad.
awful.
You
First time
you
it turned out to
also
be
gave
bad.
me a lanyard for it, and I
did.
said when I get tired of this podcast, I can strangle myself on a door handle with it. So at least
We had
I
different
have that.
reactions. We
That
had
was
different
my
reactions.
intention.
I,
Yeah.
at least I have that going for
It's
me.
really good.
How's
I knew it was
therapy
going to be fun.
Great. It's going great. My therapist, she's a clinical therapist, and she prescribed me a rope.
She has to borrow my Night Ring, Night Rain
let me
flat
have it.
lanyard.
She
Yeah,
said she escorted me to the door and said, "Here's the handle." Okay.
No, the thing I knew
This
was I
podcast
was
is
going
going
to like
great already.
Night Rain from the very beginning. It did something that Elden Ring didn't do. That it would have been easy for Night Rain to also not do. Is you get in and you meet all the characters and you go, oh, they're all really likable.
Yeah.
Elden Ring
Yeah.
specifically makes its characters not very likable because it wants to say things about them. It wants them to be more intriguing than like
You're not playing as any of
not
the
playing.
characters in Elden Ring, and so everybody's kind of supposed to feel like an a-hole to you. They're supposed to feel like they're all against
Interesting.
you.
yeah, there's
Because you
the
make
whole
your
world-
character in Elden Ring.
Yeah,
right?
the whole
Like,
world is against you. You're the only one on your side, basically. That's not how Night Reign.
there is this like
set
lots
up.
of times in Elden Ring where the part of the loneliness is even when there's other people around,
Mhm.
they're not, and even when they're like somewhat friendly, they're all somewhat standoffish too, and they all kind of have their own things that they're into, and they're only slightly helpful ever.
Gotcha.
And so, you have to kind of chip away to make them, figure out who they are. Now, it's not to say they aren't interesting, good characters,
Sure.
but they're not supposed to be instantly likable.
Mhm.
even
Night
the
Rain is
likeables.
different than
Night
that?
Rain is different because the idea is like it is this group of heroes who are the last people standing against this like torrent, and the thing that they have in this world, even though they all come from these radically different places, is each other just to fight next to. And there is this really cool kind of camaraderie where all these people have like found the value in each other right from the beginning. It is kind of you against the storm. Your little group, and you learn more about them, and you add a few other people to that group.
I watched the video at PAX. I went in their little tent thing. I still am unclear. You're hunting a monster like Monster Hunter?
So basically like there is this storm that is coming into the lands between, and when you start, you get dropped in, and then you can fight and get upgrades at different places, try to clear and beat bosses. And then the storm will start and it will cut off part of the land into a circle. And then the storm will focus on a boss fight. And you have to get to that boss fight, beat that boss, and then the next day starts. You do that twice. And on the third night, you fight the boss in the eye of the storm.
Okay,
Oh,
so
cool.
so I had zoned out when you had said that new game was game.
Yeah.
But
Welcome
I just
back.
want to point out, I don't know, that could have been 3 hours ago, and I could have just looked into
We
that
don't
camera
know.
and been gone that whole time. I fully expected the second you said that to just come back and the room be empty and
Yeah.
dark. Okay.
You expected to wake up
So,
on a bus with
on a
bunch
bus
of different
with I
people.
driving, and I was like,
Right.
"What? I was just on a
Around the
school
door.
bus. How did
Yeah.
I get here?
ferrying
Look
you
at
to
the yellow
purgatory.
walls. It's obviously a school bus."
Yeah, right.
Point is that so you had said that, and it was very confusing to me. Demon's Soul,
Almost.
one game,
Right.
and Shadow of the Erd Tree, new game,
DLC.
DLC for new game,
Mm-hmm.
DLC Game of the Year nominee,
Yeah.
True.
Shadow of the Erd
Does
Tree.
that make sense?
Yeah.
Shadow of the Erd Tree is not game. It's not even game because Elden Ring is the game.
That's
Yeah.
This is the most
It's
sense
a
he's
s-
ever made.
He's gone to something.
All right.
Yeah, he's on to
Shadow
something.
of the Erd Tree
It's
is
more game.
is more of the game.
Right.
It's a secret third thing that's evil.
It's a secret third thing that's evil.
Yes.
Correct.
And so the issue I have is that we can't even say that it's game when it's not even game. Even if it were old game, we
Right.
couldn't say game,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
You can say that Sonic 3, that's game.
That's game.
Yeah.
And Knuckles is not game. That's a That's two words that follow an ellipsis.
Quinn has
That's an
finally
incomplete
caught
sentence.
up to 2 years ago.
Okay.
It's an incomplete sentence.
I need a little sidebar here real quick.
Let's hear it.
With Ty and Devin before I ask you a question.
Okay, let's hear it.
Wait, everybody.
What are the odds that he thinks I'm talking about the DLC for Elden Ring and not the new Elden Ring game?
There's
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
That is exactly what he
100%.
thinks
There's
you're talking
no
about.
question.
I don't
So
think
what are
he
your
has said
thoughts
the
about
word.
Night Rain?
The hit game Night Rain.
Yeah, Elden Ring Night Rain.
Yeah.
It's just like Demon's Souls. It's game, right?
It is in fact game.
Isn't that that's the game?
There's a new game.
We've now clarified. Quentin has no clue what you're talking
No,
about.
no, isn't Night Rain the new game?
It is a
Night Rain
And
is
Shadow
a
of-
new game.
Didn't I say Shadow of the Erd Tree was the DLC?
Yes.
Yeah.
Shadow of the Earth Tree is the DLC.
You're talking about something completely
Elden
different.
Ring is the first game, and Night Rain is the second game.
Yeah, correct.
Shadow of the Erd Tree isn't game though.
It is not.
No,
you're
no,
right.
you're
Yeah,
right.
you got it.
What's the old game that you've been playing?
Oh, this is actually, I have a question.
Oh, okay.
The old game I've been playing is The Witcher 3.
The Witcher 3. Okay.
Yeah, Wild Hunt.
That came out in 2015,
Yeah.
right? When did that come out? 2010?
That's
Probably.
the question.
2010?
Our producer's going to look it up.
It's great
Oh,
that our
yeah.
producer
Listen,
is
wait,
so quick
it's-
with these questions.
What's the studio that makes that? Sorry,
CD Projekt Red.
CD Projekt Red.
Mhm.
You would never judge their game by when it released because it takes like 5 years for them to
That
make
is
a game.
that
out of
is
it.
typical.
Cyberpunk was a very expensive way to destroy your computer.
Did you hear that?
And now it's a video game.
Witcher 3 came out in 2015.
Yeah, 2015. That's what I was thinking. Did you hear that Cyberpunk, the game that they said we're absolutely done, we're not updating ever again. Quit sending us mail, right? Guess what? New update coming out
Yeah.
because the game is still they're still adding content to
Yeah.
apologize to me personally
Yeah.
for having released the worst. I
Did
mean,
you buy?
Oh yeah, I played it when it was horribly broken.
Yeah, at launch.
I played it
Yeah.
when it released, and it was. I loved it
Yeah.
mostly because I would have. I don't think I ever in any video game had more entertaining experiences than playing.
It looked
Cyberpunk.
really fun.
One of the I pulled around. You know, I was like driving a car, and then when it launched, the car's controls were completely busted.
Yeah.
So you would like barely move it left, and your car would go into a tailspin. And so I've been like going crazy around it, and I finally kind of get control, and I pull up behind somebody, and it's a red light, and I'm following traffic laws, right?
Do you have to in the game?
No, I just was.
Oh, you just.
And there's this car. No, you can just kill people. All
Right,
you know,
I
you can
assume.
throw a
That's
grenade.
not against traffic
assume.
laws.
No, you can
specifically, no.
throw a grenade into a crowd as long as it
crime.
doesn't hit a car. You're fine.
Right.
And so I'm pulled up behind this guy, and the light turns green, and he starts going, and I hit the ignition, and my car doesn't move, but it starts revving, right? And it just keeps revving, and then it launches into the sky, and I see the city beneath me,
Right.
and then it goes into a tailspin, right? And it
Spun in.
it
There were no
lands
survivors.
upside down,
right.
right?
hmm
My character gets out of the car upside down, so I'm seeing the world upside down.
Yeah.
Then he flips around, the car explodes, and then I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe that happened. And then I look around the corner, I hear a beep, and I look around the corner, and my car is coming around the corner. It was my car. It was
fine.
back.
Yeah,
It was fine.
Yeah.
And it was experiences like that.
Fever dream.
Yeah.
When I say every time I played, I had something like that happen at least 10 times.
Has your experience with The Witcher been anything like that, Ethan? Did your horse shoot up into the sky and spin around?
Can't say I've had any of those.
Trash game.
Yeah, it's not as interesting.
It wasn't. It's a fun game. It's a little wonky in a couple ways, but I like it. There's some things. I've got some thoughts I need to get a little further to kind of figure out because it's got that openness and that kind of do whatever you want to thing. But you're also in a story, and so it feels sometimes like, well, can I just wander around a village hitting people with my sword if I need to talk to people here? It doesn't seem to be.
Are there prostitutes in the game?
No, not really. Have you played The Witcher before?
No, I haven't.
So you once told me that Solid Snake, one of the characters you play as in Metal Gear Solid, but I can't remember which one. Solid, right? I don't remember. But you said he walks around like he has a full diaper. You said that to me.
There's so many characters that could describe, but I think
Because
I was
of
talking.
characters
So
you
many
play
characters,
as.
and Quentin says so many
He
things.
says that about so many.
Yeah.
That was probably Raiden. I don't know. It was probably I said that not because of his gait, but because Raiden just looks like he's got a full diaper. Like he's got these like super wide feminine hips that kind of look like he's wearing some padding, and then he's also got just an extensive posterior, and he kind of looks like he's got a diaper on.
Ethan, give us your what do you want to say about The Witcher?
Yeah.
So what I want to say about The Witcher is Geralt walks like he has a full diaper, and he has the same kind of run that all of my autistic friends have, where their shoulders don't move, but their arms and legs do.
Yeah,
and I like him. I think I think it's really fun that you're like ghost hunting. That's cool. You know, I like even the things I mentioned before. I like those. I like the way he runs. I think it's good. I think it's a good game. Very fun.
Ty, what have you been playing?
I have been playing Dune Awakening. It just came out.
Dune Awakening.
I've also been playing Elden Ring Night Rain, but Ethan...
The DLC game.
Right. Yeah, that's the one.
And Dune
Awakening.
Please report on the sand.
It's great. I was in Yellow Sand Land.
Yeah? Have you
and
discovered...
I'm in Red Sand Land now.
You've discovered new sand?
I discovered new sand.
That's terrific.
And some very pretty rocks.
We love to hear
the
about
yellow sand.
Too late.
Don't eat the yellow.
Too late. I already ate it all. Shai Hulud showed up and was like, "That's my toilet."
Actually, don't eat any of the sand.
So this is good. I like the idea of this. It's one where they came up with a story that's like an alternate telling where Paul was never born, so he can't become the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
That's so stupid. That's such a stupid joke.
What a dumb joke.
That's so
I saw the
stupid.
look on his face.
I knew something was.
None of this is inaccurate to the game, and then he says that. Yeah, he was really revving up.
Dude, you
don't get any more time.
You know what?
Now.
And the
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the name of the needle they hold at your neck.
Oh,
when
right.
They question you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. It kills the body instantly.
Yes, correct.
Right.
One punch.
I thought that was the Magic Johnson.
So you bring him back.
I'm glad that nobody heard
My
that.
favorite moment in Dune was when Paul Atreides found the One Piece.
Yeah.
Yes, that was the best part.
It was pretty good.
So Paul Atreides was never born.
Right? They had a daughter, and it
One-
apparently changed everything. Everything's worse.
Let me tell you something. Paul Atreides wasn't born, and I'm not going to shed any tears of one fewer Twinks in this world.
I don't think Paul Atreides is a character. I don't think it's a good adjective for him.
Anyway,
Okay,
it's fun. The game is really fun. You can't ride a sandworm yet.
Oh.
What's the point?
I don't get
well, the sandworms still eat you. That's the thing. You get
But what if you play as a Fremen? If you play as a
the Fremen are all dead.
Wait,
or are they? That's the question of the game. You're looking for the Emperor killed them all, but they think they're
Can't you
still
play
some?
as a Fremen?
How
No,
did
you
the
can't.
Emperor
You make a
succeed in killing the
He
Fremen?
he sent it's a very complicated
All right,
story.
I actually don't want to know. Never mind.
It's a very complicated story.
If I feel like
He probably didn't. Is the answer?
there are two camps of people
Because remember,
when it comes to Dune
in the
fans.
original Dune, they thought there were only a few thousand Fremen, and there were
Yeah, there
millions.
was yeah.
So I think he thinks he killed them because he killed a few thousand.
Okay. The reason I
that's my
said I don't
guess.
actually really want to know
I don't actually
anymore
know.
is because there's two kinds of Dune fans.
Yeah,
There's
right.
those that like Dune and those that hate it. Those are the two
So it's
kinds of
Star
Dune
Wars.
fans.
Yeah,
It's kind of like Star
Yeah.
Wars. Yeah.
There's people who there's people who only read the first Dune and like it, and there's people who read
Correct.
more than the first Dune and hate it.
Yeah.
No, but the game is quite good. The things I was worried about with the beta, which was like the melee combat and PvP stuff, they seem to have really worked on, and it has a really fun gameplay loop.
Right.
Cool.
So I've been enjoying that, and then I've been revisiting The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild on my Switch 2.
Oh.
Wow. Why would you do that?
Fire sale.
Because I can.
Why do that?
Because it's a fun game.
Why?
I play through it
I know that
every couple of years anyway.
You're at home. You could play it with the Second Wind mod on your computer in 4K with a texture
But
pack.
I couldn't listen to the new Zelda.
How do you like
things.
that? I'm curious how the
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I wish it wasn't relegated to a phone app that I have to turn on every time I want to hear it.
Do you know that I also can hear it without the Switch? It's called YouTube.com.
No, they
you know
hunt
that?
you down. If you open a YouTube link where there even a second of that sound file plays,
You go to Cage
Nintendo-
Insider and you type in
Pull the trigger.
Zelda Breath of the Wild.
they downloaded cancer into you the moment you did that.
So
well,
does
it was
the
worth it.
phone app sync with the game to where
Yeah.
what happens in
It
the game?
has an interactive guide too. So
That's
like
pretty
you
neat.
you say I want to go and get this thing over here, and when you get it, it highlights it on the phone app. I do like that.
That's pretty neat.
I do like it a
remember
lot.
back. Do you remember this, gentlemen?
Mhm.
Because we're all elderly in this room,
Right.
Right. Do you remember when you go to
Correct.
GameStop or EB Games, right?
No. What are
And
those?
you'd get those strategy guides that were like this long,
Yeah.
this
Prima.
thick, right? The Prima guides,
Yeah.
and they
I
had,
had like a
different brands.
leather-bound Twilight Princess.
Yeah,
guide.
and they would
Yeah.
have special editions that were
Mhm.
kind of cool, and they had artwork in them. But what was really nice is they would have maps
Yeah.
in a lot of these, right, with different item locations and things like that.
Right.
And you, as the adventurer in these stories, you had to mark your maps in the books, and it
Yeah.
really added a level of immersion that was really terrific.
I do
used
miss the
my-
amount
That
of
was-
time. I do
that
miss
was
the
terrific.
amount of time I had as a kid.
Yeah.
Yes.
I do miss playing Elden Ring.
Yeah, I do miss playing Elden
I
Ring.
used
Uh-huh.
when
which was
I,
also
when the,
that way.
when the 3D All Stars collection came out in 2020.
Yeah.
I used an old Mario Sunshine strategy guide to find all the blue coins
oh,
in
okay.
because it had a little blue coin tracker.
Yeah.
Because the game didn't have that.
Yeah,
right.
right.
it was fun.
Accidentally, I picked up the Zelda Wind Waker
Yeah.
Oh,
Prima Strategy Guide, and I opened it to the wrong page and saw Ganon.
Oh,
Spoilers! It was so devastated.
yeah.
that was
I was
always
just
the
like-
risk
Spoiler.
that you ran.
Yeah, if
It's
you
all
open
okay.
if you open a strategy guide, you
take
might
your
get
life
I mean,
into your own hands.
if you open, any Metal Gear Solid strategy guide at any point without having played the
Yeah.
game, you won't have anything spoiled because you won't understand any
You don't
single
understand
part.
right.
anything.
Right.
Kingdom Hearts is the
I
same way.
played Wind Waker, and within the first 5 minutes, Ganondorf showed up, which is like a huge spoiler. Like, I can't believe the game's
Yeah.
spoiled.
That Ganondorf is in it.
Yeah,
But-
actually, Tears of the Kingdom kind of does have that problem.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
grabbed the wrong. I went to the wrong area. Not wrong area. I went to a really far flung area. The very first memory that I got.
Yep.
Spoiler alert: is Ganon like murdering one of the very important characters.
Punching Sonya to death like a dog.
Yeah,
She-
that was like-
Somehow much more violent than if he
To
just
be
used
clear,
the sword.
he punches her in the ass and she dies.
I'm pretty sure he
Right?
rips her spine out just below the camera like Sub-Zero.
Yeah, that's also
We don't know.
possible.
But
It
we'll
was
never know
unclear.
because Nintendo doesn't show us.
If you go to the final area in Tears of the Kingdom, like they show, like there's a mural that shows like the spoilers of the story,
Uh-huh,
and you
yeah.
could go there at the beginning of the game.
True.
Well,
Yeah,
my
it's kind of the
point,
nature,
my
which
point with that
could also be
game-
the end of the game because you can just beat it
Yes.
there.
You can be
too.
there
Yeah.
anywhere. The thing is that Breath of the Wild was so masterful in how it handled its memories because we already know of the calamity that has occurred.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the memories just
it's all
sort of
just context.
They're just
yeah,
filling
they
it
just
in.
add context,
Yeah.
right? The Tears of the Kingdom has the different approach where you go in and incredibly stupid things are in each memory, but they're also plot significant things. And it'll be
Yeah.
like, all right, this dog guy has to figure out how to save the world with a robot, right?
They would have done a lot
And-
better if every time you get a memory, it just shows you the next
I know.
cutscene,
I don't
the
know
next
why.
that would be good. No,
Instead
but-
of letting you
but
get them
one
out of
line
order.
of code,
Yeah.
and that's how
But
the
my
game
point
works.
is that
people could
again we're
easily
in
spoil
spoiler mode here. My point
Yeah.
is so I got up on top of a mountain and
Uh-huh.
I saw a blonde
Not
haired.
even in the game.
No, I got up on top of a mountain. I climbed a mountain.
Saw
I had my
blonde man.
I had my Nintendo Switch, right? And I played this on a mountain.
Everest.
No, but I went up on a mountain and I saw a dragon with blonde hair and a sword sticking out of its head, right?
Uh-huh.
And I was like, I immediately looked at that and went, Zelda got turned into a dragon, right?
Uh-huh.
Because it was a blonde-haired dragon just
Yeah.
flying around, right? And
Yeah.
she had goggle eyes, right? And I was like, that's pretty peculiar. Wouldn't you agree? Right? It wasn't until the very last memory that I got where this dog, this like dog woman's like, if you eat the stones, you become a dragon, right?
Uh-huh.
And she's like, don't eat the stones. You're going to be a dragon. And so, the The problem is that it was like this big blue balls waste of time where I already knew she was a dragon.
I did not know that.
I don't know how you saw that from a top of a mountain because she stays up in the
sky.
You know what? It wasn't a mountain. It was a
sky
it was one of those platforms.
Oh, okay,
yeah, Sky Island, and again, it was like. I spent 35 hours of gameplay just seeing without context this caricature of Zelda in dragon form.
Yeah.
I did not see that coming. It was like a really cool moment for me.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm going to close out what you've been playing, though.
What you've been playing, since we know Quinn hasn't.
Wait, no, I haven't.
Oh my God, he has.
So, but go ahead.
I've been playing Wind Waker on the GameCube app.
Wow.
Just kidding. Mario Kart World, baby.
Mario Kart World.
It's so good, you guys. It's so good. The open world, free roam. It's pretty much everything I wanted. Like I have not even kind of found everything that's in the game.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is that I think this might be one of the most approachable Mario Kart games because of how like party focused some of the modes are, where they're just big open roads and you can just have chaos and it's fun. It's very party.
Yeah.
But then like you look at speed runs and stuff and the things people are doing, it's insane.
Yeah.
Like the tricks off of walls and the fact that like you can trick off literally anything.
I am a little worried about that ceiling up there.
The ceiling's high.
I can't
Skill
seem to find.
ceiling
I'm
is
looking
high.
up and
now, what
up
I will
and
say,
up
if you've been seeing a lot of like shorts and stuff of people doing crazy stuff in time trials, that is some really insane stuff. But there's a great channel called JP Givener where he at the end of his shorts will usually tell you if it's at all usable. And some of the really crazy ones, you have to start them at the exact right spot, at the exact right angle, at the exact right time. So if you're playing online, they're not helpful.
Yeah.
A lot of them are. A lot of the tricks and
the big
stuff
famous
are.
one right now where like you grind on this rail and then you jump, you bounce off of this like pole, then off the stage, then
in
off
the great
this wall,
question block
and then
ruins.
hit a cloud and you land in the grass and then come around the corner. Looks insane, and it's become the like default of like.
But that's a great example because if you start that one wrong, you'll literally just fall into a pit. So if you're online and you've got it lined up and literally someone just bumps you on their way to turn, you'll mess up and go flying.
Yeah.
So like I still, if you play online, like I've been playing online a lot, it's not like you're just getting trounced. Like I'd say the vast majority of players, just like any Mario Kart, this game's going to have 60 million people playing it at once. So like I still think that the point of entry is really low. It's just that I think the skill ceiling for the first time, not the first time in Mario Kart, but it's much higher. So I think that it's going to be shockingly, we came off the heels of a Mario Kart game that lasted 10 years, but I think this one could go just as long. I think it's gonna
Well,
be good.
listen, when did the Switch 2 come out?
June 5th.
How long has that been?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. So the Switch 2 is out, and I own it because it was given to me, right? I didn't request it. In fact, I was in protest of owning it. And it's out now. And so I finally opened it, and I don't want to express ingratitude here. In fact, I'm going to give you gratitude for this illustrious gift, and I'll give you my experience. I finally opened the Switch 2. Isn't this is incredible? It's the Switch, but 2. You know, it's right over there. I always feel like the Joy-Cons are going to break when I pull them out, you know? So,
because you're supposed to push the button.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the screen doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
I ripped those babies right out. So, I have put a fair amount of time into this, to be clear. I played Mario Kart. What is it called? World. I played Mario Kart World, right? And the thing about Mario Kart World is that you can play it with a friend. Now, I don't have a friend, but I wanted to play it with a friend.
Yeah.
The point ultimately of this, I don't care about your little time thing here, producer man. I'm talking.
The rest of us do.
So the point is, I gave it a fair amount of time.
Here comes the point.
The
we all hope.
50cc, the 100cc, the 800cc.
Who plays 50cc?
The
CC. Big baby.
Well, you got to go through all the cups.
No, because if you beat it on 150, it clears all the
I didn't know that. Yeah. I should have saved myself a lot of time. I played all the CCs, right? CC's Pizza. Here's the point, okay?
10 words.
Here's the point of this, right?
That's 3 of them.
Listen. Just give me a chance here.
All right, here we go.
I played 27 minutes of Mario Kart World. I'm gonna need more words. Hold on. I played.
Wait.
No,
you
hold
just
on.
said that ended with "I'm gonna need more."
Yeah, no.
So you
hold on.
technically said I played 27 minutes of Mario Kart World. I'm gonna need
Yeah,
more.
well, I will need more, but let me wait.
Topic of the
Wait.
week.
I gotta hammer home this point.
All right, hammer home. The
Okay.
point. Here it comes.
So I played 27 minutes of Mario Kart World, and then I unlocked a skin suit for Playin, and I spent 47 minutes. Thank you for the Nintendo Switch 2.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Go screw yourselves.
I would
Thank
just
you.
like to say I am incredibly impressed that somehow you managed to mess up the name of Mario Kart World while getting all the words right, but putting the emphasis in a way that didn't make any sense to
Right.
me.
It's true.
Mario Kart
true.
World.
Mario
It's
Kart
Mario
World.
Kart
And
World.
now, Harrison, where are we going?
Fantastic.
You can do this.
News?
Yeah, the news.
Topic of the week. Harrison.
What are we talking about this week,
Harrison,
boys?
reach your meaty claw. I think there's only 2 topics left.
I added one.
You know, I realized.
There's one.
Wait, there's one topic in here.
The last
topic in the bag.
Fantastic
That's exciting.
way of
I'm gonna have to
breaking
put my
the news
improv
studio.
skills to heavy
Yeah.
use here. I've only
Yeah,
got
I
one
know.
piece of material to work with.
I would just like to real quick apologize for the lighting for my camera.
Uh-oh.
I look like I'm getting my high school picture taken.
Yeah.
It's a new set. We'll
Yeah.
fix
We
it.
know you never
We'll get
graduated.
We're never
there.
fixing it.
This is the In Progress podcast forever.
Yeah.
Morgue 2. We're calling
so-
it Morgue 2.
So I'm reading this topic, and I'm pretty sure you all have done it before.
Oh,
Did you
no.
reach your meaty claw into the
I did.
bag for the
I did.
camera?
There's only one in there.
Okay.
Yeah, there's only
Yeah.
For it.
Devin, accessibility, the good and the bad.
We already did this.
We didn't talk about
Didn't
the
we do
good and
this?
the
You all
bad.
have talked about
Uh-uh.
accessibility, but I don't know.
We
We
talked-
talked about
I thought
it.
we
We
already
talked
did
about
this topic.
accessibility features
Time to-
specifically,
Yeah.
but we're talking about
No, you're here. I know what he's thinking of. He's thinking of the fact that you said, "What do modern games do objectively better?" And I said accessibility.
Oh, no. You know what I'm thinking of? I'm
What?
thinking of when we had a topic that was about difficulty, right?
Yeah.
That's true.
And I think we had a topic that was about difficulty and settings and things
No,
like that.
the reason I threw this topic in is because of Monster Hunter Wilds.
Right. A
Because
game that I've played.
I am of the opinion that that accessibility is a predominantly good thing. I don't,
Yes.
some gamers they
Gamers,
get
yeah.
into the headspace of like they want a game to be hard. They don't want to. They think that if there's a easy mode, it somehow devalues the game. And I think that's stupid.
I mean, I think there should always be an easy mode, but it should force you to wear diapers when you do it.
Yeah,
well, they already- wait.
in the Venn diagram of like toxic gamers,
They-
Ty's somewhere in there.
Metal
He's
Gear
not all
Solid
the
5,
way.
baby. If you're too bad at
Yeah.
that game, you have to wear a chicken hat
Oh,
because you're a chicken.
That was
right?
that's a good
Yeah.
way to
You
do it.
remember that? And it actually in Wolfenstein, when you are choosing your difficulty modes, right?
Yeah.
It starts out with the normal, and it's like a relatively tough looking guy. And if you go hard and harder, it's he looks more grizzled and whatnot.
Yeah.
But if you go far enough back, he's like dressed like a baby, and he's got a pacifier in his
Yeah,
mouth,
they
and
really
like the
wanted you to feel
description
like a
is like
baby.
you're a
Yeah.
pathetic baby who shouldn't be playing video games, but you bought it anyways.
It was always the mode I
the
said it to.
90s.
So
No, but
No.
the thing that it got like Monster Hunter Wilds, I think the first 10 hours of the game are easy mode to be accessible.
okay,
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I love accessibility, but it was the first example that I've seen in a while where I was like, this is accessibility done the wrong way. It's mandatory,
Yeah.
and they're using it as like a blockade to get to,
And there's a good game
rest of the
buried
game.
under there, but you may not know it if you
which is a shame.
Yeah.
It's a shame that that so much of the beginning is like walking scenes where you're just talking, like those like playable cutscenes.
Yeah.
And then the game is super
So
easy,
easy.
and the contrast is insane. You get to high rank, and it's like one of the best Monster Hunter games I've ever played. It's open. The experiences you have are incredible. It's so much fun, but you had to play 10 hours of easy mode just to get there.
Right.
If that, I actually uninstalled Monster Hunter Wilds recently.
Really?
Yeah, I never made it to high rank,
Yeah.
and it's because like you said, it was I would come home and start the game up, and it didn't feel like there was a problem with the game. It felt like I couldn't turn it off of tutorial mode. The tutorial mode.
Yeah.
Like it's playing on easy. And it's like at some point it's like I'm spending hours playing this game and I'm not getting anything out of it because it is set so low.
Right.
Yeah, I've only played like maybe an hour, but Monster Hunter, it's called Wilds. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Is a sore subject for me because, of course, Devin was like, "Hey, we should play Monster Hunter Wilds together. If you want to get it, I'll pay for half." And I was like, "Oh, I would love to play a new Monster Hunter with my brother Devin." Right?
Mm-hmm.
We came from the same womb, and
Not your
we have the
brother
same
Ty or
blood.
anything.
No, forget
not
them.
them.
But the point is, he said, my beloved brother Devin said, "Let's play a game together," and I said, "That sounds great."
Yeah.
Because in
Still waiting.
in times of yore, we would sit around the campfire and break out our Nintendo Wii, right?
Right.
And play Monster
Around
Hunter
the
Tri, right?
Yeah,
Anyways, that's a callback. The point is that
A callback to something that didn't happen.
he then proceeded to never play this game with me
I'm
at
still
any
waiting.
point. He messaged
I
me.
sit in my office for hours each night,
He has,
wondering where Quentin is.
Yeah.
He's
Just
gotten
with my PlayStation
gotten to
controller
high
and a
rank.
tear in my eye.
He's gotten to high rank in this entire time, however many hours. He's asked me to play one time,
Yep.
And you said no.
and I said, "Oh
And
no, I can't."
And my
No, I
heart
said-
literally shattered.
I said, "No, I can't. Why don't we play tomorrow?" And he never replied.
Right.
no. He sent me a text that said no. Period. That's what his text said.
Right. That's what happened.
That's what his
Anyways, the
text
point
said.
is that I've only played about an hour, and it is the worst Monster Hunter I have ever played in my life.
Yeah,
It's awful.
So like, I'm all for like getting new players into a series.
Mhm.
Like, I think it's great like that Mario Odyssey has like a guide mode. It's such a big world, but if you turn guide mode on, there's these little footsteps that just leads you to a
funky mode in Donkey Kong. That was a very hard game, but funky mode was
He
made
can't
it
die
easy.
on spikes. He has 5 hearts.
Yeah.
But it's just it's an option.
Yeah, right.
I'm of the opinion that accessibility done right is when you give more options.
But they want to. The thing is, they want, and I think this is a good impulse. They want as much of a game to be seamless as possible. So they want it to be both optionally accessible, but also completely seamless. So they don't want you to go in and choose funky mode or choose easy mode. They want you to just have ways of making the game easier or harder on yourself. And this works to a certain degree, and it often doesn't work to another degree because it all depends on like how seamlessly these things are worked into the game.
Right.
Which, like in the case of Monster Hunter, it's not seamless. It forces it on people who don't want it.
Exactly,
right? They should have had an option where you can walk left at the opening cutscene and skip 10 hours of the game.
Right.
And so you let that child get eaten at the opening cutscene and you just move on.
Right.
It's like
or do it like every other Monster Hunter game has done, where like there's a lot of additional stuff to do during low rank. The main missions
but
in
Monster
like,
Hunter
Rise.
was never really like super accessible is the problem.
No, it
and
wasn't.
And some games
And that was
some games just can't. Yeah, like I don't know how you would make Dark Souls accessible because like if you could put an easy mode in there.
Sure.
But like that kind of if you're to some extent it kind of defeats the purpose.
Dark Souls is the sriracha of video games.
Right.
When the guy who made sriracha was told that he should make a milder version, he was like, "No, if you don't like it, don't eat it. We don't make mayonnaise."
Right.
Just buy something else. Yeah,
that was kind of that is kind of it would be very hard to, it would dilute the formula too much.
Well, I've been saying this about Spelunky
to make this easier
for the 7.5 years we've been making this awful podcast. I've been saying about Spelunky that Spelunky, people say like, oh, I want Spelunky to be easier, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And my whole point is, here's the thing. I acknowledge that there are some people in this world who are too weak. They're too weak, right? They're like people with peanut allergies, right?
Right.
You're too weak.
The weakness
it's a
of
moral
peanut
failing.
allergy.
Because I mean, you're scared of a peanut, right? I mean,
they're not scared of it.
Scared
they're
of it.
scared of anaphylaxis.
What a weakling, right?
Yeah.
My point is that the
I'm not scared of any nut.
Woodle Tree Adventures
I'm
is
scared of this nut.
Woodle Tree Adventures is like the peanut of video games. Imagine if someone said Woodle Tree Adventures, I'm scared of it. It's too dangerous. I'll go into anaphylactic shock if I
You
play
have
it.
said that. I'm pretty
That
sure.
happened to me one time.
Yeah.
All right.
And you did go into anaphylactic
I went into
shock.
anaphylactic
Yeah, it's
shock.
true.
I played it for 10 minutes and then I refunded it. I didn't realize the game was rated M. The point is that Spelunky, if you're too weak to play Spelunky, Woodle Tree Adventures exists, right?
true.
There are games you can play that are going to be more accessible. And some people will say, like, don't you want to accommodate weak people? And my point is that I don't think every dish should be pad thai. Okay? I don't think everybody should be exposed to peanuts if they're too weak to eat a peanut, right?
Yeah.
Right. You see what I'm saying?
I think, like, going along that point, like, hang on, okay, there we go.
We didn't ask.
Proceed. I asked Harrison.
So I think the thing is that, like, if you have a game that's called, like, the Spider game, right? But you have an option for like arachnophobes to turn off spiders.
Yeah.
Then, like, at that point, like, they just shouldn't play
they
the
just play a
spider
different
game.
game.
You're completely removing the point of the game. In the case of Spelunky is supposed to be a difficult game because it's supposed to be a roguelike that you play over and over.
Right.
So, like, difficulty options like
Defeat the
kind of
purpose.
defeat the purpose
Right.
of the game.
Yeah, I feel like with Souls-like, to go along exactly with what you're saying, Harrison, is that, like, Souls-like games, if you're stronger, if they're easier, they are a loading screen.
Right.
Because, like, part of the fun is you are so much weaker than this opponent you're fighting, and you have to figure out a way to beat them.
Right.
You know, like, you can't tank a hit. The thing is the size of a tree, right? You know, it's hitting you with, like, a giant sword that, you know, is looks like a small building. You can't, if you're stronger than it, just defaultly,
Right.
you're not playing there are games where you're stronger than your enemies.
Sure.
And those are fine, you know, they're great.
Sure.
Turn the difficulty setting down on, like, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. The game's still fun because it has all these mechanics that are the game.
Yeah. Right.
Dark Souls, the mechanic is the boss kills you in 2 hits.
Yeah, right.
Right.
So
How
if
do
you take
get
that
around it?
I mean,
it's only fun. Like, once you get to a high enough level and you go back to the early zones and you just have to hit the enemies once, it's kind of not fun anymore.
Yeah, right.
It's like in a survival crafter. If you have a ton of resources infinitely, then you're not really surviving.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean,
just-
if you have
it's
a creative mode in Minecraft
Yeah.
where you just have
It's a
everything
different
accessible to
experience.
you,
Different experience.
it's a whole different game.
But Baldur's, we've had this discussion before. We're like, Baldur's Gate, the point isn't difficult combat. It's a story you're going through.
Yeah,
If
right.
you can have a difficulty setting where there's no combat.
The
and
point
there's
isn't
still-
spiders. You should be
point
able to
isn't
turn off
spiders.
spiders in that game.
Well, and in some cases, it's the exact inverse. Like, I've
A
seen
lack of
I've seen-
accessibility.
no. I've seen YouTubers complain about how Kirby games are too easy.
Oh,
But, like, Sakurai's
Morons.
original vision
morons.
was
that
he
makes
saw
sense.
he saw little children playing Mario and falling down a pit and they stopped playing. So he created a character that can just fly over pits, and, like, he created Kirby with the idea of, like, literally anybody can play it.
Yeah.
And so when people are like, oh, the Forgotten Land, wild mode, and the Forgotten Land still isn't, Elden Ring levels of difficulty, it's like, okay, but that's the point.
It's not supposed to be.
Kirby is meant to
but at the
be
same time,
super accessible.
I don't know that Wild's problem is actually accessibility, because there are other games
it's
that are
poorly implemented.
This is
accessibility.
just simply poor implementation.
The goal
of
was
a
accessibility.
But this is less. Again, I think this is less of a accessibility is troubling it, in that they are stretching out a learning curve that in every other game is so short, and they're saying, like, no, we've got to make this learning curve super, super far, right? What player needs 10 hours of a game before it becomes difficult? They're going to have spent 10 hours not being prepared for a drastic increase in difficulty. Are they really being more accessible doing that? Because I feel like...
No, but the annoying thing is like, I see the fact that when I got to the credits and it was 10 hours, I can see a non-Monster Hunter fan being like, what a cool game. Because, like, I'm not hating on anything, but like because they just played Uncharted and it was 10 hours and they got to experience it, and
It was very cinematic.
very cinematic.
That's not what we play Monster
Hunter
for.
Wilds is more cinematic than any in the history of the whole series.
And worse.
And then when you
To be
get
clear.
to the when you get to the credits and the credits roll, I could see a more casual fan being like, "What a great game!"
I'm done.
And then they're done and they're going to come back for the next one. So I can see Capcom's
Okay.
theory that like, okay,
Yeah.
now you like long-term fans can enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you could have
How do you,
done that.
you know what
better.
though? How do you create new long-term fans? Because here's my point.
That's a good point.
When the
Yeah.
four of us, we were in swaddling clothes when the first
Right.
Monster Hunter came out.
Mhm.
You know,
I
that
was 20.
PlayStation right? That PlayStation game, right?
You were in swaddling
Still in
clothes.
swaddling clothes, but
So, when the PlayStation 1 came out, you
Yeah.
know, and then after the PS2 one, we had the PSP ones. And those
Yeah.
and the first PSP ones were the ones that we all first started on.
yeah,
Right.
freedom.
And during that
Just barely. I was like I jumped on with try.
okay. Me and Ethan played Freedom and Freedom Unite.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that was on the
Yeah.
PSP.
Yeah.
And so we've been in this game a long time. And the thing is that the difficulty and the group playing, together to try and accomplish this very difficult
Yeah.
goal, that breeds loyalty to this franchise.
Sure.
You overcome a great struggle in the game, and you as a group sort of bond over that, and you strategize and you get better. If the game is easy and that experience is cut out,
Yeah.
who is
A
developing
bunch
these
of the game-
long-term memories that they're going like, man, that was huge.
And a bunch of it's
Right.
not even multiplayer. Like,
But then
they-
I don't understand the design philosophy of this game at all. And I will say, and I also probably will never experience it because I got an hour in, and
Yeah.
the second that one of the cat companions started speaking, I threw up.
You
I
can,
threw
you can
up.
change it. You
back
can
to
change
the
it back to
original.
just meow.
I had no
So,
idea.
you
I
can do
heard the
that.
voice. I threw up. I fell on the ground. I rolled around. I had a seizure. I passed out. I
They
developed.
have an accessibility option for you.
Yeah.
That's that's a good thing.
Cat mode.
There's actually another accessibility thing that will rope our fine developer here into the conversation.
You mean
uh,
producer?
Our producer.
yes.
He is
What
developed.
is he-
He's developing.
He's
the-
listen. The guy has developed. The guy has developed nothing but a hepatitis infection once.
Oh.
Okay, so he's nothing else.
I told you that in
feel
college.
like
I'm sorry.
Final Fantasy 14 has strayed a little bit in trying to make
Boo.
it accessible by making the
Boo.
wait, because no one complains about 14 like people who play it.
This
You
is
You're
did
true.
say
This
you
is
made
true.
several
Yeah.
death
Actually,
threats to the creator
Yeah.
of the game. Right?
Yeah.
Yoshi P. We love you.
By homogenizing specifically the tanks to all play more like each other,
Yeah.
that is an effort to make it more accessible, but it doesn't necessarily make people like it better. A lot of people, like when I played, the tanks were all already kind of getting a little very similar, and every update seemed to make them more and more of the same. Where they started with a lot of different flavor, but they just weren't very well balanced.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but there are a lot of people who were like Dark Knight mains, and like the changes that they made to Dark Knight with Dawn Trail, like they don't like Dark Knight as much anymore because like it just feels like every other tank. It's like how animals like
It was the
They're-
holdout. Yeah.
there are like 5 different animals that have like evolved into crabs. Like all the tanks
Yeah,
are
right.
evolving
They've
into
all evolved.
warrior.
Yeah.
And
You mean that they've all evolved independently, like
Yes.
crabs?
Yes.
It was not necessarily that they set out for them all to be the same.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
That's kind of accessibility, though. Is they're trying. I get what they're
Crabs
trying
are
to
the
do.
most
Yeah.
accessible animal.
They're delicious.
They're really
Actually,
easy
they're-
to catch too. Yeah,
They're easy to catch, and as long as you have a
Exactly.
hammer, you can eat them.
Yeah.
But as
Gotta get
far
in
as
there.
like as
Yeah,
far
I
as
got
like
the
homogenizing
You
jobs,
need
like
anything with a hammer.
That's true.
in to explain it, like
Okay.
it does make raiding a little bit more easier to like flex around with like different jobs, like to switch back and forth.
Yeah.
So like I do understand like making jobs like Black Mage in 7.2 is the biggest change with how it works, and it is a lot easier now. and Final Fantasy 14 players were very upset.
You
about
all should
that.
should have a segment to talk
Yeah.
about Final Fantasy 14 together.
We might do that at some
It would be
point.
fun if the three
So
of you
I
had a
didn't mean
segment
for this
but
topic to
I'd
turn
like to-
into Monster Hunter Wild sucks.
Yeah,
That's
right.
kind of what
Well,
it
I would
is.
Here's the
can I
sad
say-
thing. Here's the sad thing about it, right? Because I'm the only other person who's
Yeah,
made it
yeah.
to the end game. And Monster Hunter Wilds, I'm going to say something real controversial on this show, doesn't suck.
No,
what?
it doesn't.
What?
It's great.
It's fantastic.
How?
But you have to be made to suffer.
Yeah.
You have to endure suffering to
Okay.
get through those first 10 hours
Can I-
to get to the actual game. And it's a shame.
And you shouldn't.
You shouldn't
Okay,
have to do that.
This whole segment, like you said, has just been on Monster Hunter Wilds. Can I talk about something other than Monster Hunter Wilds for
No.
a second here?
No.
I'd like to wrap this up.
Producer, what?
Yeah, if I can read the question again, the question was accessibility, or the topic was accessibility, the good and the bad.
Right.
Yeah,
well,
but we've
talking
already
about the
talked
bad.
about the good.
We've talked about the good in the past because we've talked about
Yeah.
how accessibility is great, and so
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
question, it's a terrible question because half of it is completely unusable. I'm going to talk about the bad some more.
It's
but a
only
different game.
it's only in fairness, it would be a good question if we hadn't randomly pulled all the other accessibility options
Yeah, true,
first,
yeah.
Right, yes.
Because we've
Yeah.
talked so much about the
Yes.
good.
All right, so
And
I
I talked
want
about Kirby.
If we
Kirby's a
pulled
good
that you
example.
have,
So I'd like to
If we
just
pulled this
go
first,
ahead
though.
and just kind of
Yeah,
wrap
Baldur's
this up
Gate.
and
Sure,
kind of
go
talk
for it.
something other than Monster
Yeah.
Hunter. Here's the thing. Accessibility options is another term that is used to describe the will of the woke mob.
All right,
And here's
so-
my point.
Good night, everybody.
No. Here's my
Yeah.
point. The woke mob wants these
stop
quote
the
unquote
timer. We're gonna
accessibility
cut
options. And what they really mean by that is they want gay right? They want games for the gays. Games.
Gay,
They want games for the gays. They want Nathan Drake to be gay. They want Kratos to be gay. They want Mario to be in a gay
Grecian
relationship with
gay?
his brother Luigi, right? They want it to be gay. And
Right.
my point to all of them, and I'm addressing you, gays, right? My address to you is you already have a game. It's called Metal Gear Solid. Sorry, that's the end of it. That's all I had to say.
That's
and,
fair.
and has no accessibility
None of it is
options.
usable.
There are no accessibility
Harrison,
options.
do we have time for another topic?
We don't have another topic. That was the only one that was in the
Not
bag.
really.
Not really?
Yeah.
All right, boys.
Well, guys, that was a podcast.
That was our last.
We're
we got to fill
done.
that topic up.
That was
We're
the last
firing
thing.
off.
I know.
We're firing
God.
off
We gotta put
subjects.
more
You got topics for
I'm
us
gonna
in the
get.
comments.
I'm gonna get
Yeah.
way more
There's no
specific in
comments.
my topics. I'm gonna be like, do you
Yeah.
remember the asteroid belt in Star Fox 64?
Correct. That's just
That's
the question.
the whole topic.
That was
whole
so
topic.
cool.
Do you remember?
Do you
the asteroid
remember?
belt?
Everyone just
it
goes
was
in a
so
round table.
trippy
Oh
when you
my
go to
God.
the warp.
Oh, it was so
Well, guys,
cool.
thank you for being here for the first pod in the new room.
Yeah.
That's right.
can
We change
I-
up
Next one
rooms
won't
every
be so
20
chaotic.
episodes or so.
I'd
It won't
like
be
to
so
make
late
a.
at
I'd like to make a
night.
motion here.
A
We
motion?
used to call the first location the morgue.
Okay.
I elect that we call this new location the crematorium.
Okay.
Oh, perfect.
The
All right,
crematorium.
we're in the crematorium.
The crematorium.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
What
That
was our old location?
Where people rise from the ashes.
Oh, that's not what happens in the crematorium.
I don't know what a crematorium is.
All right.
No, guys, if you're still here, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for sticking with us.
Put like an urn in the comments if
Yeah,
you're still
if you
here.
have it, or
I don't know if
literally
you can
just
do
fire.
that.
Word earn.
Just the word urn.
Yeah,
Just
the word earn.
Just put some
Big
fire.
thanks to Harrison for producing.
Yes,
Good
thank you.
job,
Thank you,
Harrison.
producer Harrison.
If you guys want to see more podcasts, subscribe. We got all kinds of
Scribble.
content on the channel now.
Yeah, we play
News.
We play video games in
play
addition to
video
talking
games.
about
Under
them.
protest, I play video games.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes.
All right,
Quin
fine.
sometimes
Yeah, but
play.
you will.
All right.
But thank you guys for being here. See you next week.
We're going up in flames. In
Bye-bye.
flames. In flames.
Rise from the ashes.
Goodbye. Goodbye.